2010 and 2011. So sometime around end of 2009, my aunt mentioned about Tyagaraja Aradhana that happens in Thiruvaiyaru. And it was like almost like God sent a message when I met Sri Radhakrishna early Jan of 2010, and he mentioned about Tyagaraja Aradhana that happens at Thiruvaiyaru. And he said, that's a place that you should go visit. And this was roughly around the time when, I was also shooting musicians, Indian classical artists. And Tyagaraja Aradhana and Tyagaraja, the story, kind of blended with that. So I decided to head to Thiruvaiyaru and experience the Aradhana. To be honest, I didn't expect anything. I didn't know anything about the Aradhana except for the fact that it's a musical celebration that happens at Thiruvaiyaru sometime in the month of early Jan. But what unveiled once I went there was an experience to be felt, to be captured, and to be told. Because we all know about Tyagaraja, and my initial influence with Tyagaraja or an introduction to Tyagaraja was through the movie Tyagaraja. And in addition to that, of course, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, my aunts, my mom, they would all sing Tyagaraja Kirtanas. Or that's about the influence that I had or exposure to Tyagaraja. So when I finally landed at Thiruvaiyaru, this sleepy village, which comes alive during those 6-7 days, right? It's a photographer's delight to be there. You find every shade of rural India that you can think of. Be it the streets, be it the people. And Thiruvaiyaru is on the banks of River Kaveri. So that itself adds to the flavor of the place, right? And during the course of these 6 days, the entire village comes alive. On one side, you have the musical celebration that happens, and on the other side, you have the Vedic celebration that happens. Now, talking about the musical celebration, right in front of Tyagaraja's Samadhi, which is on the banks of Kaveri, you have two simple platforms where you have musicians come and perform. They come, they pay their homage, they put all their egos aside, they put their fanfare aside, and they come and they sing. And while the performance happens on one stage, the other stage, the musicians set them up. And with a beautiful transition, which without even missing a heartbeat, one performer completes his performance and the other one just starts. And this is a cycle that continues for 24/7 for 6 days, which ultimately culminates on the final day where all these musicians come together. While we see most of the Carnatic musicians who perform there, when we look at them in an urban setting, you have the press, you have the fanfare, you have the luxuries that you can think of in terms of the green room and the way they're greeted, the way they're treated, all that. But at Thiruvaiyaru, in front of Tyagaraja's Samadhi, they put all that aside and they just about come there to pay their respects, they pay their homage. I mean, the green room would be a simple room with the shamiana, with wooden benches, just put there. They come, they sit, they wait for their turn. When the turn comes, they get up, they go and perform. Once the performance is done, they walk across to the Samadhi and they perform there, or sometimes they sing kirtanas that Tyagaraja wrote, pay the homage, and they just leave. That's the simplicity of that, right? And then you have people of different age groups, people from different parts of the world, people of rich, poor, all coming together, young, old, rich, poor. It's a beautiful culmination that comes together into one place for those 6 days. And that's an experience that needs to be felt. While we have the musical celebration that happens on one day, you have the Vedic celebration that happens simultaneously in parallel, close to the place where Tyagaraja used to live. You would have uh, pujaris who would spend 6 days through different Vedic rituals paying homage to Tyagaraja. Right? One day would be dedicated to the Vedas, and you will find just a hall where you will find about 20 plus people sitting and chanting Vedas, while one would just sit alone and chant Rig Veda. You would probably find two people sitting and actually having a jugalbandi in Veda, or you'll probably find a bunch of them sitting and chanting together. While all this is happening, right in the middle would be the sacred fire, the Homa, being performed, and they would be chanting. You can just about imagine or feel the energy in that room while this is happening. And that is an experience to be felt. The place where this puja happens is not a fancy place. It could be it just could be a house, it could be a shed. It's completely dilapidated, but in that setting with these people sitting and chanting and doing the puja is mesmerizing. It's a photographer's delight. So while you have that on one day, you have another day that is dedicated to the ultimate mother, the woman. All the women of different age groups sit, their feet are washed, aarti is given. There are different things that happen. And then you have a day dedicated to the guru, where the youngest could be a 6-year-old paying his respects to the next older one, which is about 6 or 7 or 8 years old. And the chain continues all the way to the oldest person present there, who was roughly about 96 years old, right? And this part is something which we don't see every day, right? So then you have both the Vedic and the musical celebration kind of culminating on the final day. The idol being carried from Tyagaraja's house on a palaki through the village, through the streets where he would have walked, with songs being sung. And they walk through the village while people come out and pay the respects. They give alms, and that finally the idol reaches the samadhi, where celebration of the musicians and the Vedas kind of come together. For the localites, the villagers, these 6 days is nothing but 6 days of festivities. They every day evening they deck up, they come, they have a village fair that happens. People step out and have a good family time. And there again, you see a very interesting contrast. You have, I'm talking about 2010, 2011, right? It was still the age of cassettes and CDs. So you would actually have stalls where people would be selling cassettes and CDs of Tyagaraja's kirtanas, sung and performed by different musicians. There would be food, street food. People would come do that, and that's again a very beautiful sight to be felt. It's been almost a decade plus since I've gone back to Thiruvaiyaru. Hopefully, I'll go back. It's taken me 10 plus years to finally put this story out and to kind of bring this together.